This is my audience. This is my outline. Now, growing up, a lot of kids played travel sports, and to get into travel sports, you had to go through a tryout. Now, this doesn't matter for any sport. Generally, you had to pay some money, unless you're on a rec team, but you always had to go through a tryout. Now, let's just say during this tryout, you were the best player there, put up the best stats, and overall were a great team player, and just you did everything that a coach asked you. Now, when the cuts come and you talk to that coach and you realize that you didn't make the team, you might be asking yourself why. You did everything right, you were the best player there, and you just had the best stats. And then you find out that little Jimmy here, he made the team. You might ask yourself why. He was terrible. He was not a very coachable player, and overall just didn't carry himself well. And then you find out, little Jimmy, his parents paid that coach money for all the expenses, to pay for travel, tournaments, everything. And that is the only reason he made the team. How would that make you feel? That's the same situation that's going on through here. My topic today is how the MLB Hall of Fame Selection Committee is biased, and this is wrong. Now, the sources I will be using today are November 2024, the BBWA election rules, and Mackenzie Meany, January 2024, how suspended or confirmed PED users have fared MLB Hall of Fame voting. Now, over time, you have many people get into the Hall of Fame, and some were suspected of cheating and some weren't. Now, a big one I will bring up is Barry Bonds. But before I get there, the issue with the election committee is that they're allowed to have bias. They don't even care about the stats. It's just if they're allowed to assume something about a player, it could alter everything that player has done in their career. Now, how would that make you feel? You worked your whole life for something, worked every day, put your whole life into it, and then you're not able to be recognized at the highest level because a group of people think you did something wrong. Now, another great player, according to November 2024 BBWA election rules, that made it into the Hall of Fame was David Ortiz. Now, David Ortiz played at the same time as Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was more in his prime, and David Ortiz was more as a rookie then. Now, in 2000, Ortiz and Bonds both allegedly had a positive PED test. Now, the only difference between the two is that David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame and Barry Bonds isn't. And you might ask yourself why. That's because in the following years, Barry Bonds was scrutinized because although it did look like he added a ton of weight in this part of his career, they assumed that he took steroids. Now, they only didn't start testing for steroids until 2003. Both Ortiz's and Bonds' alleged PED test was in 2000. Now, my second point here is that the committee does not have a firm selection rules that say you have to have this to get it. Now, going back to little Timmy, let's just say little Timmy had an all right career, but just because he played in a different time period where rules are different and that he didn't face as good as pitching, he got in very easy. And then let's just say Alex Rodriguez here, way better stats, and he doesn't get in. Now, Alex Rodriguez also tested positive for PEDs, and now he is not going to get in, which he shouldn't. But that also brings the condition. What do you consider cheating? Because you have players thrown out of games, like George Brett, for having too much pine tar on his bat. Now, he got thrown out of the game and couldn't continue it. You have guys like, let's just say Barry Bonds, who never served a suspension or anything and will never get into the Hall of Fame because of this committee. Now, the committee needs to have a selection that is either a bunch of stats or career accomplishments that allows people into the Hall of Fame. Without this, you allow the committee to just pick and choose who gets in based on who they like or who they think is good enough. Now, just to put you in their shoes, let's just say that, I don't know, let's just say you were trying very hard at something. and you put your all into it, and all of that got ruined by one allegation. And the allegation can't be proved. It's just floating up in the air. Because at the time, let's just say you did something, and then they test for it 3 years later, and then they accuse you of it. Even though there is no proof of you doing it, and it wasn't necessarily illegal at the time, they won't allow you in. But you have the best stats, you have many, many records, and people are going to hold that over your head because you allegedly did something. How would that make you feel? Would you be mad? Would you be upset? How would that make you feel? Now, in conclusion, what I need you to do is that I need you to email MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred about how that there needs to be a select committee and a select amount of career accomplishments that needs to be set to get into the Hall of Fame. Let's just say it's a matter of home runs. You need this many home runs, you need this many RBIs, you need this many hits. And you need him, I would email him and say, you can't pick and choose what cheaters necessarily get in. You have to have a base set of guidelines. It's no matter if you have served a suspension for cheating, you cannot get in, or let's just say you can't say you've been thrown out of the game. There has to be a baseline for cheating. It has to be served a suspension that you have gotten in trouble for it. Instead of just, oh, we thought this guy did something wrong, or we think this guy did something wrong, or allegedly this guy did something wrong. You need to have distinct proof. It needs to go into order, and we need to get a big petition and sign this and send it to the MLB Commissioner office to make this change happen, and I need you to do it.